Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
Joshua Shrum. He is a very talented steward, very knowledgeable.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. This is one of those podcasts where I listen to every episode. I love what he's putting out there.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. Josh Shrum.
Parcels of Knowledge. Does a fantastic job with that podcast.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. He is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God. We need Article 8 scholars right now.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.
Good morning and welcome back to Parcels of Knowledge, the podcast dedicated to delivering knowledge to the city letter carrier with your host, the Roseville Wrecking Ball. Today we have a really cool episode because it's Wrecking Crew Wednesday, but we also have another badass individual on the other side here. Would you be able to introduce yourself, please?
If my mic's working, it is. My name is Greg Donaldson. I am the branch president for James D. Shea, Branch 88 in Galesburg, Illinois, and some of the surrounding cities. I'm also the steward in the primary office, and I represent several of the smaller offices nearby.
And you're the biggest elbow of education to management in Illinois, right?
I'm not necessarily the biggest, but I think there's a tie between me and a guy in Bloomington.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But I invited him on, Greg Donaldson, because he's a resident expert in a lot of things, and I just figured, I might have a little bit of help with him explaining, because the Wrecking Crew chose a particular topic, and this is utilizing M-Document 1664 and M-Document 1769. But first, because it's Wrecking Crew Wednesday, we got to honor the Wrecking Crew. That is Rick Steiner, E.R., Tom Perry, Philip DeGilio, Chris Angeloff, Amy Tyvan, Ryan Ackers, Edmund DeVore, Miziel Guzman, Paul Siranowski, Jamie Gregory, Neil Beckman, Shannon Mossbarger, Kenneth Grigsby, Benjamin Shellhaas, Joni Weber, Still Stacks, Self Care, G Whiskey, Daniel Pitts, Mark Allen Kennedy II, Jason Munn, David Groskoff, Unfortunate VP, Abraham Arskar, Corey Walton, Tyler Christopher, Lino Miranda, Anthony Arthur Robinson, Angel, the activist Obi Tynes, Roxy B, Kathleen Rocky Connors, Kirby Franklin, and we have grown in numbers. Omi from Texas. I'm not going to even bother to try and pronounce her name because it's pretty tough. But these badass individuals are what makes this show goes on. And what they do is they donate value for value. Basically, if you feel like you think this show provides you any value, then you're welcome to donate between $1 and $50 per month. And you could quit at any time. That's our Patreon. The link will be in the description below. But without further ado, we're going to talk about M-Document 1664 and 1769. First, I'm going to have to read them, which I had them pulled up, but for some reason I took them down, probably to read the list of the Wrecking Crew. But let's start with 1664. These are both very important M documents that can be used in a few different types of cases. But we're going to talk about 1664, and then we're going to read 1769. 1664 reads in relevant part. DOIS is a management tool for estimating a carrier's daily workload. The use of DOIS does not change the letter carrier's reporting requirements outlined in Section 131.4 of Handbook M41. The supervisor's scheduling responsibilities outlined in Section 122 of M39. Or the letter carriers and supervisors' responsibilities contained in Section 28 of Handbook M41. Those projections are not the sole determinant of a carrier's leaving or return time or daily workload. As such, the projections cannot be used as a sole basis for corrective action. A 5-minute time credit, that's not really relevant. Management's responsible for accurately recording volume and other data in DOIS. Other than obvious data entries, errors, route-based information may only be changed through a full count and inspection or minor route adjustment. Additionally, the parties have previously agreed that functions in DOIS which relate to the route inspection and adjustment process must be in compliance with the city letter carrier route adjustment process in subchapter 141 and chapter 2 of the M39 handbook. Exceptions are offices that have jointly established an alternate route adjustment method. DOIS-based information in such offices shall, as appropriate, comply with the alternate route adjustment method. All right, so that is 1664. Let's go to 1769. And that says, in relevant part, the specific office efficiency tool is a management tool for estimating a carrier's daily workload. The office efficiency tool used in Greater Indiana District or any similar time projection system / tools will not be used as the sole determinant for establishing office or street time projections. Accordingly, the resulting projections will not constitute the sole basis for corrective action. This agreement does not change the principle that, pursuant to Section 242.332 of Handbook M39, no carrier shall be disciplined for failure to meet standards except in cases of unsatisfactory effort, which was to be based on documented unacceptable conduct that led to the carrier's failure to meet office standards. Furthermore, as stated, the agreement for this particular case, there is no set pace at which a carrier must walk or no street standard for walking. Projections are not the sole determinant of a carrier's leaving or return time or daily workload. The use of any management-created system or tool that calculates a workload projection does not change the letter carrier's reporting requirements outlined in Section 131.4 of Handbook M41, supervisor's scheduling responsibilities outlined in Section 122 of Handbook M39, or the letter carrier and supervisor's responsibilities contained in Section 28 of Handbook M41. Now, the obvious elephant in the room is that this can be used for discipline, for cases where a carrier is accused of, things like stationary time or of not meeting standards in some way that is applicable to the systems that measures you with, or establishing some sort of demonstrated performance. But I have my guests here. What other ways can we apply 1664 and 1769?
So there are a few different ways you can apply each of these, but at its core, 1769 and 1664 are about management's tools. They're electronic tools. If management suddenly started bringing AI, I believe they would qualify here. 1769 specifically, we're talking about standards in the office. We're talking about trying to create a street standard out on the street. So if they're trying to really push that and say this will happen, you're going to cite 1769 and say, no, it's not under Article 15. It's not going to happen. There's, in fact, a great grievance starter that uses 1769 on the 8 arbitration website about the 1 hour office time. And it's one of the very first MDocs that's referenced here. MDoc meaning material document. 1664 has a couple of also alternative uses, specifically because of the second paragraph, first sentence. Management is responsible for accurately recording volume and other data in DOIS. And DOIS touches everything. It touches time. It touches data. Heck, management has to every day enter in the number of flats and letters that are brought to your case into DOIS, which includes stuff from curtailed mail. One of the things I'm dealing with now is management gets the 1571s the night before. You guys are filling those out, right? Because if you're not winning those route count delayed mail grievances. Management gets those 5071s. They'll report it in DCV, the delivery condition visualization, how they're supposed to report it. But DCV does not import those data values into DOIS. So management has to manually enter those values into DOIS, and time again, I'm finding with the work hour workload report. Let's see, I've got one here. Yeah, work hour workload reports. Management is not entering those values into DOIS. So when management goes around in the morning going, hey, here's how much you've got, they're giving incorrect information. When Thankfully, it hasn't happened here yet, but I believe it is happening in other places when the carrier has delayed mail on their route and they're like, hey, I'm going to be this much over. Management's looking at their own projections and say, well, no, my projections say this thing. Why are you going over? Oh, you have the delayed mail. Okay, whatever. So because management isn't doing that, it's creating friction there. This can also mess with your historical data for route counts and inspections, because if that data is not entered in, it's never going to show up. You're not going to see, both the union and management aren't going to see that you had an abnormally heavy day. It's just going to look like a normal day. So as odd as this is, if you could declare a 271G on your route and they did it off this bad data, you might actually have a route that's well under 8 hours as a result.
Okay.
Odd as that is, but it could happen.
Yeah.
Time is another one. If management is, when you're doing stand-up talks, switching you to training time, you'd want to cite 1664 because training time doesn't count to our route times.
One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
no,
if they're making you move to 782 for safety talks, that's also M document 605.
605? I haven't looked at 605.
M document 605 says these items are line 21, and one of the items in there is weekly safety talks and other communications. So,
right.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Like, this is why I love having these discussions, because I'm going to learn about these M docs that I've never heard of or never had to actually file a grievance with. Lately, I've been doing a lot of work with 1664 because, again, management isn't correctly entering in these values. If you're in the Western region, however, Westpac specifically, there's an additional document that you can cite, and I believe it's enforceable. I think anyone can cite this as persuasive, but if you're in the Westpac area, it's enforceable, and I'll tell you why in a minute. It's called the Integrity and Accurate Reporting Document, and it was put into place, sent out to all Western area employees.
Can you read it?
Yep, yeah, by Gregory Graves. This memo is a reminder of your obligation to manage and work with integrity. It is an absolute requirement that every employee accurately report mail conditions, timekeeping information, barcode scans, and all other data entered into Postal Service databases. Do not share your password and don't access a system with someone else's credentials. Any employee that immediately comes forward and reports the violations of these requirements will not face consequences simply for doing so. However, every employee who engages in accurate reporting, falsification, or who knowingly provides misleading information will be subject to disciplinary action, including removal from the Postal Service. As a reminder, every violation of ethics policy must be reported to the Office of Inspector General. Requiring every employee to act with integrity and report accurately is critical to our business. When each of us is upfront, honest, and truthful, we can identify problems faster and immediately find targeted solutions. This saves the Postal Service valuable time and resources. Do not place your employment in jeopardy. Always tell the truth. Be accurate in what you report, and never place yourself in a position which compromises your integrity. Now, this was put out by Gregory Graves. Gregory Graves, when the reorganization occurred in 2021, went from being the head of the Western area to the head of the Western Pacific area. So if you're in the Western Pacific area and you're dealing with time falsification, you're dealing with undelivered mail that's going unreported, I would bring forth that document as an enforceable obligation for management and force management to answer the question, why aren't you acting with integrity?
I'll put that document on the Parcels of Knowledge Facebook. And maybe I'll put the link into the description as well.
Mm-hmm. They're very good documents. I think anyone can use them for persuasive value, but they're going to have more impact in the West.
Now, I have a question.
Sure.
I just was reading that while you were saying it, and one thing fascinated me. I wonder if this can apply. It says, do not share your password and don't access a system with someone else's credentials. You know what? Recently, I've heard that carriers who are brand new had been given other people's credentials to use their gas card. I wonder if you can use it for that, because it does say integrity and accurate reporting. So integrity is part of the question.
Yeah, I think you could use it there, especially if it's a supervisor doing it. It's really easy for postal management to get you a gas card number. It takes less than 5 minutes. If you're a mentor under the NERM for a new CCA, make sure you fight for them and get them that gas card number. If you're sharing that gas card number and somebody else uses it to buy snacks or steal money or whatever, that can fall back on that CCA. You're not going to get yourself in trouble for reporting, hey, you're giving them this gas card, improper gas card number. That's not okay. You're going to be protecting that CCA's future employment.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
All right. So do you have any other insights on how to use these tools? One of the things it sounds like we can use them for, 1664 and this new document, is inaccurate volumes. Is that correct?
Yeah. In fact, 1664 is kind of the core of inaccurate volumes. Again, they're responsible for accurately recording volume and other data in DOIS. PET is going to pull from that data, so you can lead that into 1767. But again, management's responsibility to do this. Yeah, we're reporting it with 1571s, but we don't have access to that information.
Also,
we've got...
Well, one of the things I want to point out is if you do have any carriers that are filing for inaccurate data recording, you also want to tack on ELM 665.16 for the integrity issues. But also, if you can prove that they knowingly falsified, then 18 U.S. Code 1001, if I'm not mistaken.
That's if it.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. If it's falsification of time, you're going to want to cite ELM 665.41, I think, or 44. It's one of the two.
I want to say it's 44. Let's look it up. Let's look it up.
Let's look it up. Nope. 41's regular in attendance. It's 44.
I knew it.
Yep.
You did good though.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna, and that M1664 is going to apply if they're falsifying recording time. And recording time isn't just them stealing time with like 1017A, or logging someone out early. It can also be something as simple as them going back through the history and clocking people to street at the 1 hour mark, at the 45-minute mark, just to look good for their metrics in front of the POOM or the postmaster or whatnot, right?
Yep.
That's falsification of recording time too. And as I noted before, impacts historical data when it comes to route counts.
One thing you got to know as well, one thing that I use as a contention, and it's not STEPI tested, so I don't know. I just use it at the local level, and they normally buy it. But I usually say, we don't know what future route adjustment will look like. So, in order to be safe, can we agree that this data that's inaccurate not be used for any official purposes related to route adjustments? Because for all we know, right now, the process might not look like it could hurt us, but then tomorrow, Renfro can sign a new agreement that says, hey, we're going to use exactly the data that was inaccurate. And I'm like, motherfucker, I should have,
And that's one of the things I always ask for with these grievances is, hey, fix it, what you broke, what you didn't put in, if you can. If you can't, let's not use it. Because it's like when management carries a route. If a supervisor carries a route, it's not going to show, their time isn't going to show up on a work hour workload report. It's not going to show in the past history. So you've got to be like, hey, this time that was here was invalid. Even if it hurts it, it's just, for us, it's acting with integrity. It's going to ensure that the route is most accurately carried and created at 8 hours, assuming management ever cares about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that about sums it up for those 2M documents. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that hits it. There's always other ways to use these things, but that's the way I'm using them right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad to have the great Greg Donaldson of recently you did a pretty cool roundtable with the Workroom Floor. If anybody hasn't checked them out, go check out On the Workroom Floor. It's a good podcast. It looks like they're back in action. So that's good to hear.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Actually, there is one thing kind of very much out of right field here.
Floor's open, bro.
Currently, the Postal Service has opened comments on a proposed change they're planning to do in line with a recent executive order from the Trump administration. That would require the Postal Service to intercept mail-in ballots if, I believe, states have not turned over their registries for who's getting mail-in ballots to the Postal Service.
Yes.
If you can, find the public comment section and send in a letter objecting to this process, because we already know how much of a crazy nonsense it is from the day to day for all of us. I don't know any mechanism or even how management's going to be able to intercept this stuff, but I get the feeling it's going to fall on us in the local offices as opposed to at the plants or anywhere else for that matter. So objecting to this is good because we are the most reliable delivery service, and for states like Illinois, Washington, their entire Washington State definitely, their entire voting procedure is done by mail-in ballots. It's a big deal of what they're doing. So please go and write a letter. Contact your congressman. Get this thing stopped. It's a bad idea.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And then also, that was from the testimony this morning, right? Like
I'd heard about it. I haven't had a chance to look over it.
Let me play a clip for you. Let me play a clip for you, too. This will surprise you because it surprised me. So, did you know? Well, I'm going to play the clip and then I'm going to ask the question.
Okay.
And volume can drop straight to the bottom line. You become profitable.
So currently, I just want to be clear, there is a hiring freeze at the post office.
There is.
Raising the price from 78 cents to 95 generates about 1.6 billion. Hiring freeze about 1.8 billion in the first year, goes up over time. 3 billion for each day reduced. I think the hiring freeze could have come earlier, but at least you will start saving some from 40 days ago.
Did you know we were in a hiring freeze from 40 days ago?
So I knew there was a hiring freeze at like above the contract crafts level, like supervisors, that sort of thing. I'd heard about it in level 18 offices. They weren't trying to hire new postmasters for those offices.
Come on, that's not a hiring freeze.
Steiner had gone on record previously, I believe, in front of Congress, and noted that they were continuing hiring with letter carriers, mail handlers, APWU, to fulfill their contractual obligations. So this is new, very new, and weird because so Galesburg has a carrier academy, and they're still doing carrier academies.
Yeah, everyone's been reporting that to me too, because I posted the TikTok of that, and everyone's been saying, "Wait a minute, we just had 3 new hires today." So it's strange that he reported to Congress, specifically to Rand Paul, that they are in a hiring freeze ever since 40 days ago. So that's news to me.
It's news to me as well.
Yeah. Also, he talked about, Rand Paul kept trying to talk about how he wants it to be 4 days. I really hope that didn't get open. The door didn't get opened by the stupid proposal, because maybe they caught wind of the stupid proposal and said, 4 days would look beautiful, because they kept saying that the entire testimony.
Rand Paul, I know that's been one of his white whales, is trying to restrict the number of days the Postal Service has. We do have to be kind of careful because pretty much I think most of the rest of the world's post offices for countries is having smaller and smaller days of mail delivery. What they're doing is they're substituting it in for like other types of delivery, like grocery delivery, floral delivery, and other business strategies to keep their post offices open. But we have to be careful because, what is it? Article 43 exists. At any point in time, Congress can go, and now you have 4-day delivery.
What does Article 43 state?
Let me pull it up. I know the summary of Article 43, but I want to make sure I get it right. Article 43 summary is that Congress at any point in time can change a contract.
Well, that's kind of redundant because they can do that.
Oh, no, wait. Is it Article 43? Yes, I think so.
They can do that no matter what, but usually, like, at least in my last union, when Congress made a rule that changed what we were doing, we were able to have until the end of the contract, and then from there on, we'd have to follow the new rule anyway.
Right. The separability and duration clause. If Congress changes one part of our contract still continue, the other parts still do. So, like, if Congress changed it to 4 days, well, our contract would go, okay, you're no longer 5 8-hour days, you're 4 8-hour days. Would be that, but the rest of it might still continue through.
That's 43?
That's 43, yeah. It's the separability and duration clause. You'll see them in LMOUs sometimes, where the LMOU has just a special section going, hey, if any court or Congress changes something in this LMOU, the rest of the LMOU still holds.
Exactly. That's pretty cool. You're knowledgeable about that. We got to have you back on again. It was good having you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Anything else before we go?
No, keep on killing it, guys out there. We're the only ones who are.
If these guys are getting educated, we will be in big trouble.
Management's been weighing you down like a bag of wet catalogs, but you don't gotta take it. You strap on the elbow of education, dig it?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God, we need Article 8 scholars right now. The grievance genius and the Roseville Wrecking Ball doing amazing work.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.